Hello, everyone, and welcome into your Twin Flame Collective reading. Today, I'll be taking a look at the Divine Feminine energy, Divine Masculine energy, and then the bridging energy for the connection in general. And this is for the end of July. We've had some kind of heavy things happening at the end of July, so if you haven't already checked it out, I did do individual sign readings for the second half of July, and that kind of goes over what some of these big energetic shifts are that are happening, but just a quick summary there. On the 17th, we had the North Node moving into Aries, South Node moving into Libra, and those are shifts that happen every 18 months. So this is the beginning of that happening. And the big takeaway there, especially with the twin flames, also is the North Node shifting into Aries is really about what is your path? What is your mission? What are you supposed to be accomplishing in this lifetime? And then the South Node is really about what changes need to be made in order for you to get over your past. So the South Node is all about what baggage are you bringing forward that is either from a previous life or from earlier in this lifetime that's really hindering your growth. On the 22nd, we also had Venus going in Venus retrograde in Leo, and on the 23rd we had Chiron retrograde in Aries. So lots of big Aries energy going on, and with the Chiron retrograde, that's all about like deep healing and wounds that need to be addressed. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump in and see what messages are coming through from Spirit for our Divine Feminine. And what is the energy? All right, so that is the push from the universe is Five of Swords. How are you showing up is the High Priestess. What is in the soul space is the Devil. What is your challenge? Two of Cups in reverse. What is the push from or advice from Spirit is the Star in reverse, likely outcome, Queen of Swords in reverse. So let's go ahead and dive in there. So with your Five of Swords in terms of the push from the universe, and that's with has to do with being kind of ambitious and dishonest and ruthless. It's a card that has to do with a lot of conflict. How you're showing up right now is the High Priestess, which that's how you're showing up in the 3D. So it is that divine feminine energy, that higher consciousness and wisdom. But what's happening in the soul space is that devil energy. And the devil energy, that's that kind of worldly temptations, addictions, things like that. And kind of when you put all of those together, you're showing up, but deep down still in that soul space, you still have some of that, I would say, that energy of being fixated or obsessed. And maybe that's part of, depending on where you are in your twin flame journey, this could be, I would say, more earlier on where it's the really severe chaser stage where it's almost like the person is an obsession for you. In terms of your challenge with your Two of Cups in reverse, this is the challenge, is that feeling of rejection and solitude, which is these two cards together are kind of fueling that same sort of pattern. You're afraid of being rejected by your twin, so you're chasing harder and really kind of fixating. And so that would be for ones that are in the chaser stage. It could be, depending on your situation, and take only what resonates, but depending on your situation, maybe if the challenge is that fear of rejection, you're kind of numbing out to it. So you're turning, like at a soul level, you're kind of turning to other vices to try to work through it. So the advice from Spirit is, that you need to be focusing on your gifts. So when the star shows up in reverse like that, that's usually a lack of faith, and there's, kind of distrust. And so the and this is probably when you piece all this together, it's almost like there's that sense of you're not really trusting the process. You're making it all about getting the other person, which that's not really what it's about. It's about your own spiritual growth and learning the lessons that you're supposed to be learning. Yes, your twin is going to trigger some of these really hard lessons, some of this really deep wounding that needs to be cleared. And so with the advice from Spirit being the Star in reverse, that's, focus on your gifts. Shift that focus away from the other body, because it really is, it's your soul. Twin flames, and that's something that on the internet it seems like everybody gets right, is it's one soul in two bodies. It's the same soul vibration. It's however they have it worded, you are the same soul. So focus on your gifts, and with this likely outcome being the Queen of Swords in reverse, this is usually having to do with kind of being bitter. So if you're not able to do this, if you're stuck in this sense of being fixated on the other body, and that is going to keep you separated for longer, and that's just going to lead to bitterness. So really, really what you need to do with advice from Spirit is focus on your gifts and really turn inward, turn that energy towards yourself, so that way you can work on growing yourself and not being as focused on the outcome. And actually, let's go ahead and do a soul journey card and see what comes up for Divine Feminine for a soul journey card. Growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. And that's really, what the advice is that's coming in from Spirit is expand your soul. Really focus on you. And once you start to do that and you kind of take the focus off the other person, it's going to help alleviate these challenges, and it's going to raise your vibration. It's going to raise your energy. And that's really when you're magnetizing the other body in, the other energy in anyway. It's not going to be drawing the other one in from that place of neediness and clinginess. It's really step into your own self, and you'll see that energy shift pretty dramatically. Let's take a look at Divine Masculine and what is going on with Divine Masculine, because typically the ones watching these videos are Divine Feminine, so you're probably aware of, or maybe resonating with that energy already. So let's take a look at Divine Masculine. All right, same thing here. Advice or push from the universe is Temperance. How they're showing up is Seven of Wands. How they're showing up in the 3D, how they're showing up in the soul space is Queen of Swords. This one's upright. Then the challenge is your 10 of Pentacles. And then advice from Spirit is 5 of Swords. And likely outcome is the Sun in reverse. And actually, that's interesting. That's interesting that some of these same cards are coming up. So with the Temperance being the push from the universe, your Temperance card, that's about balance. So the universe is pushing you in, or pushing Divine Masculine into that patience, that harmony, that moderation, kind of seeing opposing opinions as well. Oftentimes, depending on where you are in your journey, the masculine might be in that running energy. They haven't fully acknowledged. I mean, if you're watching this reading, most likely your masculine hasn't fully acknowledged the connection or the importance of it. and they're probably, kind of grappling with that. So really the push there from the universe is balancing, balancing out their energy, and harmony is the push there. How they're showing up right now in the 3D, that Seven of Wands, is kind of that perseverance, that stamina, assertiveness. So they're showing up and working, but oftentimes it's working to keep themselves busy so that they don't necessarily have to acknowledge. It's kind of that, I'll call it that hiding type of energy, like, oh, if I can keep busy enough, I'll just keep moving, keep going forward in my life, and not have to do the deep soul searching, um, that would move me along that path. Um, but they are starting to see that a little bit, and some of this is as we look at that North Node moving into Aries, and that's really about like stepping into your own truth and being unapologetically you and being bold and assertive. They're starting to get it in the soul space. So the Queen of Swords is really about being independent and open-minded, and they're starting to get it. They're not as far along that path or that journey as the feminine is, but they're starting to get it. But their challenge is stability and family. So if they're in a situation where either they already are in another relationship, or they're very close with their family, and there could be issues there of not wanting to disrupt other family dynamics. Oftentimes twins may come from different types of backgrounds, so maybe there's that issue of how do you integrate two different dynamics, whether it's cultural, whether it's whatever other beliefs or things of that nature. That's kind of the challenge. Also with the Ten of Pentacles, that also has to do with financial things and affluence. So it could be that part of the challenge there is how do the two of you integrate without there being huge financial impacts, whether it's a matter of the masculine needing to turn away from maybe a job that is paying them very well, or maybe they're struggling with poverty or feeling like they don't have enough to offer. So they're working, trying to build up enough to feel like they're coming forward with a good offer. And with the advice from Spirit being kind of this card that has to deal with conflict, honestly, and ambitiousness and ruthlessness. There's a little bit of that push of, be ambitious, go out and get things done. Don't let these challenges of, maybe I need to save up some more money before trying to come in with an offer. Maybe I need to get a better job. Maybe I need to work on this. No, just go in, be ambitious, put your eye, get your eye on the prize, and really go after it. The likely outcome here with the Sun in reverse, though, that's kind of that cockiness. So, if the push here is to be ambitious, if taken too far, you're going to end up, the masculine's going to end up in a position of cockiness. So there is kind of this balancing act here of how do you set that level of ambition to not push it over the edge to the point where you're really cocky. So the challenge here, since it's also pessimism, sometimes like with the Sun in reverse, it's kind of, why am I not getting further? With this, it's focus on the bright side of things, and don't let this part of the path take over. The challenge with whatever the financial part is, a challenge with abundance, you you need some amount of push to get you over that, but be careful not to totally derail and then end up in a position where you've almost kind of overdone yourself, because cockiness is definitely a turnoff. So let's see what Soul Journey card is coming through for the masculines. All right. Forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. And this could be in relation to if there's a challenge here with the Ten of Pentacles on, family and stability. Maybe there had been a comment in the past that the feminine had made that is creating some of that insecurity. Maybe there was an overstepping, and forgiveness is necessary. So for the masculine, that's kind of their card to be keeping in mind, is harboring resentment is going to block the flow of love. So if they're resentful, feeling like, oh, I don't have the stability that I want, I don't have this that I want, I don't have all the pentacles that I want, that's going to send this down this path of being overly ambitious and shifting the focus too much onto the pentacles and not onto the love. So that's why this is a challenge. There is keeping that element, keeping the pentacles, the rewards, the abundance, and resources, keeping that focus, or keeping that somewhat in focus, but keeping that balanced, to not create this downward spiral where the focus becomes too much, 3D. So let's take a look at the connecting energies for the collective and see what comes up for our twin flames for the end of July. All right. So there we have the Four of Wands in reverse is the push from the universe. Eight of Wands in reverse is how the connection is showing up in the 3D, in the soul space. It's the Six of Cups. The challenge is the Knight of Wands in reverse. Advice from Spirit is Ace of Pentacles, and the likely outcome is the Nine of Wands in reverse. So in the push from the universe, and Four of Wands is generally seen as being a very positive card for twin flames because it's the 11-11, which even upside down 11-11 is still there. But the Four of Wands in reverse is family discord. It's kind of like that self-doubt, lack of teamwork. So with that showing up as the push from the universe, that is really, at least the way it's coming through is, you can't stay in the stagnant energy. You're going to have to push through it. So if we were talking here that one of the challenges for the masculine is family and stability and all of that, with the push from the universe kind of pushing for family discord and that is, you're going to have to push through some of these family issues if you really truly want to be on that path and stand in your truth with your twin. It's going to take that step of, maybe rocking the boat a little bit to get there. But that also, with that North Node shifting into Aries, that energy is going to be coming in, because that energy is all about, doing right by you. So up until this point, there's been a lot of focus on, everybody else around me, want to make sure everybody else is happy and taken care of and everything. But with that recent shift, it's really all about having that healthy level of greed's not the right word, selfishness. And you can't always be putting everybody else before you, because that's not going to take you where you want to go. You need to be able to stand in your truth and say, this is my path. This is what I want in my life, and be able to do that. Not saying totally disregard everybody else's thoughts and feelings and opinions, but don't let that take center stage in your life, because you're here to live your life. You're not here incarnating on this planet just to make everybody else's life happier, smoother. You have a purpose in being here, particularly with twins. There's that sense of you are here for a reason. And if you're too busy trying to people please everybody, like with everybody around you, you're really missing that purpose of being here. So if that card seems counterintuitive, that's kind of the reason why. How you're showing up in the 3D, or how the connection is showing up in the 3D, is that 8 of Wands in reverse. So in the 3D, it's kind of about like some slowness. There's missed opportunities, bad timing, and that's how it's showing up in the 3D. But when we're sitting here in the 5D, like in the soul space with the connection, the 6 of Cups, that's that kind of comfort and nostalgia, and that's how it's showing up in the soul space. So in the soul space, it's that happy, nostalgic for your connection, but it's just not manifesting like that yet in the 3D. So this energy should be pushing into the 3D. Usually the manifestations will happen at the 5D first and then push into 3D. So the challenge here, yes, that's the Knight of Wands. So the challenge here, though, for the connection is anger, like kind of that anger and that recklessness that, there's bound to be frustrations within the connection if it's not exactly where both parties want it to be. I mean, you are the same soul, but it's two bodies, so there's two sets of emotions that are running, two sets of, we'll call it narratives, that are running. So there's bound to be frustrations. And so the challenge there is really that, with our the Knight of Wands in reverse, that challenge is really that kind of arrogance on both sides. So there's certainly an element of, the feminine saying, well, why doesn't the masculine get it? And then the masculine, like, why is the feminine pushing so hard? So there's some kind of arrogance there, and some anger too. The advice from Spirit, this Ace of Pentacles, the advice is a new start and prosperity and opportunity for the connection. So sometimes the connection just kind of needs a little bit of a kickstart, a little bit of a reboot. Otherwise, this the Nine of Wands in reverse is kind of that exhaustion and stalemate and stubbornness. So with this anger, if at the connection level, if you're not able to kind of give it that fresh start, you're going to end up in this place of kind of having a stalemate. So there does have to be good communication there, and a desire to try to move the connection forward, not all this way or all that way, but it's how do you find that middle ground? How do you continue to respect and honor the connection in a way that's comfortable for both parties? So given that this is for many people, they'll see it as a romantic connection, although, with twin flames, it's not that it's soulmates, but it's better. There's a lot of challenges that come with managing that shared energetic field. So it's not all, hearts and roses and all of that. It's how do you clear out that energy? How do you balance that energy? And both parties are helping each other balance their energy. But let's see what we have here for the romance card. honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. And sometimes just being able to kind of have that, that honeymoon phase of, how do you enjoy spending time together? Like, take a break from the outside world and find your own little bubble. Let's take a look at spirit animal cards for both. All right, so let's start with Divine Feminine. Your card is the Owl. Magic. Choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception. Let the past go and make room for a better life. Rise up. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. In terms of with your, like, seeing through deception and that inner wisdom, usually the feminine is awakened first and kind of taps into some of those spiritual gifts. So that magic about being able to let go of the past and transform, that's really key, because oftentimes, as the twins come together and then go through separations and come back together, it really takes managing that energetic field. The Divine Feminine goes first in this connection, and so it's really the feminine that is the one that needs to balance that energy in order to, bring that connection kind of back into alignment. So that's that magic with the owl, is using that wisdom to bring the connection in line and in balance. All right, so for masculine, the Raven, Shaman. You are the creator and magician. Use your gifts for good. There is power in your wisdom and words. Connect with the elemental spirits and glide through the void. Claim your place as keeper of the mysteries. And this one, it's definitely important, this connecting with the elemental spirits and glide through the void, as that's something that as the masculine kind of awakens, there is that sense of the guides reaching out and helping to guide the masculine through this journey and this awakening and this understanding of the connection here. So hopefully, and there's some big energies that still have yet to play out for the second half of the year with Chiron in retrograde. That's going to be a lot of old wounds and deep healing that needs to be done. And so as these old wounds are coming up and working on healing, really at the connection level, it may take a little bit of a fresh start at the connection level, because both parties have different, some different advice here in terms of kind of being ruthless. Go after addressing for the masculine, addressing your challenge of the pentacles and that lack mentality and that lack wound. So some of those are wounds from childhood, feelings of unworthiness, or that you don't have enough, that kind of lack mentality. And then on the feminine side with the ear kind of challenge was this feeling of rejection and solitude, and that's a wound that's going to be probably surfacing during this Chiron retrograde, that it needs to be cleared, and that you need to focus on your gifts. This lack of faith or distrust in the process is just going to keep you looping even longer. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. I will also be posting the reads, in about a week or so. I'll be doing and posting the individual zodiac reads for the first half of August. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification so that you'll find out when those have been posted. Otherwise, until then, I'll be doing the daily card pulls. And with the daily card pulls, that's a single major arcana card and then a couple of oracle cards for something, just a quick one for you to keep in mind as you navigate through for that day. And then I'll be doing more twin flame reads about every other week as well. So make sure to subscribe or share this information with somebody else that you think might find this useful. So until next time, I wish you peace and joy on your journey, and we'll see you back soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.